Okay!
The Nintendo Switch had a stellar summer for game releases. I'm still chipping away at Fire Emblem, that's my game of the year so far. Ultimate Alliance 3 was this summer, Dragon Quest Builders 2, we just got Astral Chain. But September is looking to kick off the fall very strong. We have a handful of great indie games coming to the platform. Obviously we get Link's Awakening. I'm super excited for that, I love Link's Awakening. But there's one game that I really feel like not a lot of people are talking about, at least not on the scale it feels they should be, and that's Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age S. Don't know if that's the right way to say the title, but for the sake of the video, we're just going to call it 11S. So I missed the actual release of the standard version of this game last year because it came out right literally the day of classes starting for my junior year of college. Spider-Man was that weekend, so I was tied up with all of that, and I just couldn't devote so much time into a giant RPG. Now, though, fall right now, for me, personally, not any major titles dropping that are gonna take up the majority of my time. Link's Awakening comes out on the 20th, like I said, love that game, I have it preloaded, but it isn't this grand Breath of the Wild level Zelda game, it's much more condensed. It's so strong because of that, but I could realistically beat that within the week of release before 11S comes out on the 27th. Aside from playing both Builders games a little bit and having Dragon Quest IX on my DS, but barely touching it because I was just overwhelmed as a kid, this is my first Dragon Quest game, so I know the numbering for this in Final Fantasy trips people up way more than you would expect. I know it's called Dragon Quest XI's. You don't need to have played the other Dragon Quest games in the series because they're all pretty much separate from each other. There's some carryovers in the creature design, some of the lore as far as the gods and things like that. You don't need to have played 8 to understand what's happening in 11. You don't need to have played 10 or 9 or 4. This is its own game and it's welcoming. And that was one of the things that blew me away with the Dragon Quest XI's demo. So I downloaded the demo the day it came out, played it for about 15 minutes, was immediately sold, dropped that voucher purchase on it, and deleted the demo because I didn't want to get spoiled. I was already sold, knew I was getting the game, but I didn't realize I would have wanted to make a video about 11S, so I re-downloaded the demo today, captured some footage that you're seeing here, and I feel exactly the same way I did when I first played it. I've been a fan of Dragon Ball Z for most of my life growing up, and something about Akira Toriyama's art style is just so joyful and warming. You know, it just warms my soul seeing those character designs, and the way that Square Enix has realized that art style in Unreal Engine 4 on the Nintendo Switch and PS4, for its credit, it looks stunning. And the Switch version still looks stunning. Almost no complaints. There is some draw distance issues I noticed, but it's negligible for me. There's no performance issues. It looks great in handheld mode and in docked mode. Does not make the Switch overheat, does not get my fan going. Very enjoyable experience, both in docked and handheld from the time I've put into it. And I think alongside the joyful nature of this world and these character designs, the game is just very welcoming and accessible, which is one of the reasons I felt like I should make this video because Square Enix doesn't market it as that. Dragon Quest is interesting because they have a lot of carryover, being one of the first major RPGs to ever exist. They use NES sound effects still for leveling up for some enemies, and the way they number the series can be off-putting for some, but the game really has lots of options, surprising me a lot. Turn-based RPGs I know aren't a lot of people's jams. I love them because they give you flexibility and you can move at your own pace. So seeing Dragon Quest XI give you just the option of, during turn-based combat, to use a new battle mode where you can walk around in the circle while you're waiting for your attacks to load in. That fixes a lot of people's issues with turn-based combat because you aren't locked down to just watching animation cycles. The classic camera is there still. I switched to that. That is my preferred way to play this game. So if you would prefer that, and you do have a shorter attention span for turn-based combat, there are 3 battle speeds in the menus: normal, fast, ultra fast. You can see the differences of them beneath my voice on this video right now, and it really makes combat pretty enjoyable. I think that having that option in there, as well as which type of battle landscape you'd like to be exploring during turn-based combat, is just going to go so far as grinding goes, running into enemies in the fields. Obviously, I would turn it down to normal for boss encounters, you know, if there's high-stakes story moments going on. But Dragon Quest XI is a beefy game. It has a 55-hour completion time on how long to beat if you're just mainlining the story. I like to take my time in games, explore, really live in that world, so it's probably going to take me closer to 100. If we're just basing it off of the standard release of the game, the completionist run is around 122, but again, that's the standard version of this release. 11S has tons of new content, fully explorable in 2D to placate some of the older Dragon Quest fans. It's a fun nod in there, not available in the demo, but it looks nice. And in addition to new content for your party members' backstories, new missions with them where you play as them, new environments to explore, new mounts, I believe there's new epilogue content, as well as recreated worlds from every other Dragon Quest game to explore. I think it's worth shouting out too that I said I'm grabbing this with the Nintendo voucher code, but you can find it for $50 on Amazon or at most Walmarts in the US, I know, because Walmart has been selling Switch games cheaper than the MSRP. So if you're interested in the game and want to save a little bit, maybe you're not super sold because it's an older game by like a year or two, that could help. But if that is a concern for you, I really recommend checking out the demo because, like I said, sold me immediately just being in that world and feeling the sense of adventure. Me personally, I can't wait to explore it. I'm so excited for Dragon Quest XI's. I know Builders 2 had a lot of people excited, so I can see that excitement and hype carrying over into 11. I also know that the Smash Bros. Fanfare for the hero from Dragon Quest XI is most likely gonna help with the sales of this one, so longtime fans of the series may finally see Dragon Quest XI get some pretty nice success in the West thanks to Nintendo and the Switch, Smash, and of course the Builder series. But with all that being said, I thought that would be a fun thing to talk about. I can't wait for the game. It's very soon. Would love to have it right now, but I got the demo. I don't know how much more time I'm going to put into the demo, but it's there. There's so much charm oozing out of this game that awaits you as a player. I think it's just communicated so well. So Dragon Quest XI, September 27th. But until then, hope you stuck around. Thank you if you did. And as always, good vibes and good game.